video, we're going to talk about absolute value equations. So how do you solve absolute value equations? Well, what you're going to do first of all is remember that the absolute value of C is C and the absolute value of negative C is also C. That's because the absolute value is really the distance a number is from 0. So 5 and negative 5, for example, are both 5 away from 0. So absolute value of 5, 5. Absolute value of negative 5, also 5. Now, because of this, we can say that the absolute value of x equals c really means that x could be either positive or negative c. Now, I realize that when I have all these letters on the screen, some of you might be a little concerned, but don't worry, we have lots of examples. The first one is the super simple one. If the absolute value of x equals 4, what could x be? Well, hopefully you know at least that x can be positive 4. But what other number could I take the absolute value of to get 4? Well, I could also work with negative 4. And that's because both 4 and negative 4 are 4 away from 0. So let's use what we just learned in order to create steps to solve absolute value equations. So our first step will always be to isolate the absolute value sign. So you want to think of it almost like it's parentheses, and you want to get everything that's outside of it away to the other side of the equation. Then you're going to set whatever's inside the absolute value equal to positive and negative the other side. Just like when we did the absolute value of x equals 4, means that x equals positive or negative 4. Then you're going to solve each equation separately. Keep in mind that you basically just created 2 equations. So let's put this into practice with an example problem. This one is 2 times the absolute value of x plus 5 equals 6. Remember, the first step is to isolate the absolute value sign. So I need to move everything away from it. In this case, I'm going to start by subtracting 5 from both sides, and 6 minus 5 is 1. Then I need to divide by 2 to get the absolute value of x by itself. That's going to give me the absolute value of x equals 1/2. Now I want to set the inside of the absolute value equal to positive or negative the other side. So in this case, that becomes x equals plus or minus 1/2. Now at this point, x is completely by itself, so I know I can stop for this problem. But let's take a look at another problem that would involve a few more steps. So let's say I have 3 times the absolute value of x minus 4 equals 9. In this case, to get the absolute value by itself, I need to divide the 3 on both sides. That's going to give me the absolute value of x minus 4 equals 3, because 9 divided by 3 was 3. Now the absolute value is by itself. I can set what's inside of it equal to plus or minus the other side. So x minus 4 equals plus or minus 3. This means I can rewrite it as 2 equations. X minus 4 equals positive 3 or x minus 4 equals negative 3. I can solve each of these equations by adding 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7 and negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So my answers are x equals 7 and x equals 1. Remember, when you're done with these equations, you can always plug your answers back into the original equation to see did it actually work. And I promise you, these ones do. And that is how you solve equations with absolute values.